Oh my gosh, Jim. You said don't get your hopes up too high. And then I walk into this place, I'm overwhelmed. I was emotional when I walked in and saw the incredible amount of work, of passion that you've put into this project.
Yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit about how this came about?
Well, it all goes back to being a young child living in Buffalo, and the man next door had a Pierce arrow up on blocks that he hid away from the government because you were supposed to scrap them for aluminum value during World War II.
Okay.
And he had this Pierce arrow, and we went in. I was 3.5 years old and found sliding down the fenders was great sport. And he had a fit, and to keep me quiet, because I kept saying, why can't I play on this car? He would give me a button, a pin, a photo of an old car. And I said, well, this is pretty cool. I should go to all the old guys in the neighborhood and see if I can bug them. And so it was like Halloween every day. And by the time I'm 9, the basement's full. And my mother said, what are you going to do with all this stuff? I said, I'm going to have a car museum. We had gone to the Henry Ford in Detroit. I saw that, excuse me, and said, that's what I want to do. I want to have a car museum.
Wow. So you started out as this Dennis the Menace of the neighborhood,
Dennis the Menace of the neighborhood. I know they ran when they saw me coming. But by the time I'm 18, I moved down here in Buffalo, at Seneca, Michigan area, and started restoring cars, and that enabled me to collect a lot of things. So,
Well, let's take a look at some more of the museum.
Sure. Okay.
Jim, this is remarkable.
Thank you.
This was built by Frank Lloyd Wright?
It was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, and he never built it for Michigan and Cherry, right down the street from us in Buffalo. I still get goose pimples when I look at it because I can't believe we were able to build it. And we built a building to build it inside of. And it's going to be here for 100 years or more, we hope.
This is a filling station.
It is the Frank Lloyd Wright filling station, the first one he ever designed. And he did build one later in Cloquet, Minnesota, which is a modern design, 40 years later. But this was 1926, 27 is when he designed it.
The lights, everything. This is so...
Yeah, those are the bells where the gas would come down. Use gravity feed, hide the tanks in the air. That was the gas. That was where the gas came from. And those light up at nighttime. It's quite spectacular.
That is remarkable. Wow. And you do events in here as well.
Many events. We've had almost 900 events in the last 23 years.
Wow.
Major events. Our capacity is 3,000 in the two parts of the building. A lot of companies and law firms and people like that. It's so unique. Anybody can go to four walls of some hotel or something, but look at this. To celebrate. It helps us with our journey, and it helps us pay our bills. We don't get any support from anybody, state or federal.
So this has all been...
This has all been, the state did help us build the structure, this structure, not the gas station. They helped us with this. I told them, help us build the ship and we'll take care of it after that, and we have. We've shown them, and we've been self-sufficient.
Wow, that's extraordinary.
Yeah, we're very happy with that.
I want to have you show me the Playboy.
The Playboy car, made in Buffalo.
Would be fun. Made in Buffalo.
Well, the Playboy car was something, a brainstorm of the Horwitz family from Buffalo. And back in the 40s, after the war, they decided that they thought they could build a car, 2-passenger, for all these troops that are coming back from the war. And they were going to keep it under 1,000. That meant Chevy and everybody else was 1,400. The only thing they didn't take into account was that they were going to have children and they wouldn't be able to use a 2-passenger car. So it only lasted a couple of years. There were about 97 made. Luckily we have one of those. We restored years ago the prototype for the Kaplan family, which is part of the Horwitz family. And we're thrilled to have this one. But the history is really cool because the Playboy magazine was named after this car.
So the actual magazine.
The magazine was named after and there's a copy of the article over my other shoulder of Hugh Hefner was going to call it Stag Magazine. His lawyer said, no, there's already a Stag Magazine. And one of his board members said, my cousin in Buffalo was making made a car called Playboy. Why don't we call it Playboy? And it's exactly how the name came about.
That's amazing. Now, Jim, tell me a little bit about this Valentine's section here and this first piece.
Well, that's the most important piece to Marianne and I. In 1970, February 1970, for Valentine's Day, I had found it in an antique shop before, and I surprised her with that Valentine card.
Right.
Trust me when I'm at the wheel of the matrimonial automobile. And that's the first Valentine that I gave her, and we were married October 23rd of 70, which will be 50 years this year.
Wow.
And we would then go to antique shows and pick up Valentines, hide them, and then give them to each other on Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's
well,
so
now we have over
precious.
400 or 500 Valentines, and this is the first time we've ever had them out. And we're so thrilled, and next year for Valentine's Day we're going to have a major Valentine's party around it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing this.
No.
This is such a beautiful part.
Thanks for highlighting some of this part of our life, 50 years.
Wow. I want to thank Jim Sandoro for a private tour of the Buffalo Transportation Pierce Arrow Museum today. Jim is an amazing visionary who has used his passion to gift the world around him. His unyielding spirit and that love of cars that he's had since his Dennis the Menace days as a child has made the most remarkable showplace of classic automobiles, motorcycles, and bikes that I've ever seen. Kudos to you, Jim. Thanks for inspiring the rest of us in how to follow in your footsteps of using your own personal passions to make a positive difference in the world around us.